he was designating Anthropic as a supply chain risk to national security. That is a significant escalation. And at least according to according to Anthropic, it is the first time that a domestic company has been designated that way. It is basically the nuclear option. It basically says you can't do business with the government. And Pete Hegseth is claiming that it means that contractors also can't use the technology if they want to do business with the government, which Anthropic is going to dispute. But why is this happening in the public, first of all? And second of all, I don't know, why won't the Department of War say that AI is not going to be used for domestic surveillance or for autonomous, weaponry?
We're already using AI for autonomous weaponry and defense purposes. The Phalanx system, which is counter drone, counter rocket, we have it on naval ships, we have it in fixed locations, that already uses autonomous reactions. That is not a problem. Now, one part of the domestic mass surveillance is focusing on what the Pentagon pushed back on, and they said, we will use it for any lawful means. And this is really the challenge. Lawful. That is determined by our elected officials, that is determined by Congress, that is determined by folks who are responsible and accountable to the people. And the bridge, the juncture here comes when you have a private company that says, hey, I'll sell you my product, but here's what you can do with it. Henry Ford tried to do the same thing with the Department of Defense in the lead up to World War II. He eventually backed down after a back and forth. That's exactly what we're seeing right now.
Let me just take up the first thing, because actually the first part is, you sort of suggested, well, we're already doing it, but that's actually not what Anthropic is taking issue with.
They're concerned about the offensive.
Exactly. They're not concerned about defensive weapons, where something is up in the sky and an autonomous agent shoots it down. That's not what they're talking about. They're saying that the technology is not reliable enough to be used offensively, independent of humans.
Yeah.
And that seems like a reasonable
We
thing
should
to
listen.
say.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
we should really listen. If the people who invented Frankenstein's monster are saying, I can't hand Frankenstein's monster over to the government, you need to listen, because they're probably making a really, really good point. And we have this debate in the UK quite a lot at the moment about the fact that we don't have any sort of mandate for this, any digital bill of rights for the citizens. Like, did any of you vote for the fact that your government might be able to survey you at every time?
Part of this is also why Europe has no artificial intelligence research to begin with. I mean, President Macron was bragging about spending like $50 or $500 million on AI. It's like, great, that is the capex in 1 month for one company.
Correct.
And they're being left behind.
Yeah, but
because the question isn't, is the U.S. or Europe going to lead it? In the West, it's going to be the U.S. The question is, who wins it? Is it going to be China or the U.S.?
yeah, but good luck, because you've got no ethical boundaries.
And look,
to
this point,
civilian government.
Dean
vote for that.
Dean Ball, who is a former AI advisor to the Trump administration, he says NVIDIA, Amazon, and Google will have to divest from Anthropic if Hegseth gets his way. This is simply attempted corporate murder. I could not possibly recommend investing in American AI to any investor. I could not possibly recommend starting an AI company in the United States, because he's suggesting here that the force of the threat, that the government would basically blackball you, prevent any other contractors from using your technology. Again, Anthropic is going to challenge this in court. And then also, on top of that, just the public strong-arming of a private company, the threats to use the Defense Production Act to take it anyway, this is uncharted territory.
It is, Abby, and I think there's a crossroads where we find ourselves. Like traditional Republicans like myself, who believe in free markets and the government really getting out of the way of innovators and job creators in this situation, what we're seeing is it's scary. And at the same time, there is a national security element to this. The first priority of the president is national security and protecting the American people. So we find ourselves at this crossroads. A few weeks ago, there was a group I've mentioned here before, the National Artificial Intelligence Association, had a policy conference. The main thing they asked for was a framework from Congress. We need to be having this conversation, to Bev's point, through the lens of a national framework on how we're going to do this, or else we're going to keep finding ourselves at this crossroads where it's big government and the free market people are scared by this, and also national security, which we have to invest in and pay a lot of attention to.
This is one of the few companies that's been outwardly open about maybe we should have some regulation.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have some regulation here.
This is a national framework.
Absolutely. And this is also, seems like bad timing. I don't know about y'all, but I've been seeing a bunch of ships over in the Middle East, and we're going to bomb Iran tomorrow. Who knows? But it just seems like the wrong time to be doing. Can we do this after the Iran thing at least?
I also
seems
feel
crazy.
like, to your point, you're saying the government, we vote for the government. They're the ones that would decide if AI gave over, if Anthropic gave over their ability to hunt us down with machines and kill us at will, and they don't happen to like us. Like, I am called a domestic terrorist constantly by my government. My president just stood at the State of the Union and said the Democrats are evil monsters who should be killed. If that person,
no, the president did
if
not
that-
say that. Wait a minute.
Okay,
no, you have to
okay.
be accurate.
He said,
The
I will be
president did
accurate.
not
Okay,
call
Tim,
for
Tim,
anyone to be killed. I'm
Tim,
sorry, that's
all right.
Tim,
too
I will be
far.
accurate.
Yeah, the
I will
president
be
never called for anyone to
Tim?
be killed.
Okay.
I just
My
want you to be
point.
honest. I like you way too
Okay,
much.
let me
to be that wrong.
let me give her, okay, Tim,
My
let's
point
give her an
is-
opportunity to correct what she said.
The American government is
But
already.
he didn't
He
say
did not
that they
say
should
he
be
wanted. He
killed.
said we
He
were
didn't say
the enemy and we were terrible. Would you say that that is
I
fair?
think he did say, he looked at the Democrats and said, these people are crazy, but Lee,
He said
I
they
like
should,
it.
and they should.
And they should,
Can I
and
finish
Lee,
my
I like
Yeah,
you
but
far too much to let you be
but
that
he's
wrong.
right
You cannot
that
say the
Trump
president of the
didn't
United States
say-
called for
Correct.
Democrats
I
to
was
be
being
killed.
hyperbolic and I
Well,
apologize.
you have to be accurate, not
All right,
hyperbolic.
go ahead and please
Okay.
finish, because we have to.
Okay.
to go.
My point is, if the man and the government who have already made half the country the enemy from within, the domestic terrorists, if they are already using ICE to shoot American citizens in the street and then not investigate it, to give them Alex Preddy, then give them control over machines that can take us out at will, and they can say, actually, the machine did that and we didn't actually have any control over it. That seems like an incredibly
What
bad
sci-fi
idea.
world are you living in? That the American people are going to, the American government's
You know,
going to use Wi-Fi?
You do have to use your imagination. You do have to use your imagination in these issues, and you do have to do that compound thinking, actually,
But
that
Beth,
Lisa's
the
talking about. What's the
accusation
next step? What's the
there-
next step? Because I always say, if you like the government in power now and you give them extra powers, well, picture the politician in the world that you hate the most and imagine those powers in their hands. Because one day, if you're a Republican and you like the idea of this, it may not be a
Yeah,
Republican.
and I agree with you, but guys, the accusation that our government is going to use AI to kill Americans in the street,
Well,
that's
well,
a bridge
listen,
too
That's
far.
my point.
Again,
They may not, but the next one might.
Okay, all right.
I don't.
Well, hold on.
that's-
I don't know that it's a bridge too far that the government would use AI
to kill Americans.
in general. in general, okay? And the government actually, yes, has the power to kill Americans. It happens every single day. So how the government is allowed to use AI matters, and that's what this debate
Abby, can you
is
give
about.
me an example of the time
government,
where
you
the government is
understand-
like killing Americans
Hold
in
on.
the street?
monopoly of
They
force.
have.
No, give me an example
Are
of
there-
a time when the American government
Okay.
is killing Americans in
That
the
is
street.
not what I. Listen,
Renee
That is what she is.
Tim,
the
we really have to
accusation.
go.
Porter.
But let's just do this step by step. Does the government have law enforcement power domestically?
Absolutely.
Does the government have federal officers who have lethal power that can be exercised domestically?
Absolutely.
Have those federal officers ever killed American citizens?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then we're done. They have
No,
the
we're not
power
done. You
to
can't
kill
say that the government is just killing people writ large.
the
in street.
government,
That's not true.
the federal government,
That's not what
the
I said.
state government, any government
not what Abby
has the
said.
power
That's
to
your
kill its
accusation.
own citizens, and with that power comes a lot of responsibility, and
I
that
agree
is
with
why deliberation over the limits to those powers. That's what government's for.
I agree
That's
with
what
you,
Congress
Abby.
is for. That's what voters are for. That's why we're having
I
a
agree
democratic
with you, and
debate
what you
about
said
those
is
issues.
common sense. That
Okay.
was some
Every-
whimsical
all right.
fairy tale.
All right, breaking news we have to get to tonight. Bill Clinton has just released a video on his testimony before the Oversight Committee on the Epstein scandal. We'll tell you what he reveals, and we'll discuss that next.